What makes an open world good? An important question for both those who play the games and those who design it. Now, everyone has differing opinions, and that's 100% okay, because everyone likes different games and different things. However, I'm going to take a little look and see why crafting an open world is difficult, yet also not. There lays a problem in that most, if not all, open world games are completely different. They have differing stories, and you set out to achieve different things in each one. Yet the concept of an open world stays the same. It's a world that's open to you, that you can go and explore at your own pleasure. You can do what you want in it. It's there for you to explore. And exploration in open worlds is always such a massive factor. When we get handed this open world, we want to go and explore in it. We want to go find what they have in them. We want to find the hidden things. We want to explore every nook and cranny. And that is what's most important about open worlds. Yet, why do so many open worlds feel empty and pointless? Well, this is what I want to take a look at. To get a sense of what I'm talking about, we need to take a look at games which shape notions around open worlds. Now, there are hundreds of open world games out there, and loads of them are worthy of talking about. So I'm going to try and narrow them down and focus on just a couple of games which I consider did the right things, and a couple which I consider did the really wrong things. Now, all games approach open worlds differently. It's just a fact, different game developers want to do different things with their games. Some plant a massive open world in front of you right from the get-go and tell you you can do anything in it and you can go anywhere right from the start. Others can tease you into the open world. They show you what the world is. They let you learn about the world, let you learn where it's safe to go, where it's dangerous. And the quests in these games are massively important to shaping the open world. They should try and guide you as best they can and give you a sense of urgency. They shouldn't force you into a direction, but they should heavily encourage sending you in that direction for your own good. Now, other games simply shut off certain areas of the map through use of story triggers or giving you some kind of superpower that you need to get past a certain point. These are all viable options in an open world, and they all work if done well, but doing it well is the hard part. So let's start on a nice cheery note with what I think is the wrong of the open world genre. Most notably as of late is No Man's Sky, a game that promised you 18 quintillion planets to explore. That's 18 quintillion open worlds, quite literally, each of which would be different than one another. A procedurally generated galaxy that you could explore for the rest of time. Well, I won't get into the shit show that was No Man's Sky, because that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the open worlds that they promised to us. Now, some could argue that they did deliver on these millions of open worlds. Each planet had its own content to explore, to a point. Now, I'll admit, the first planet that I was on, I was struck with a sense of wonder, as I think that's a feeling that all open world games should give you. I wanted to go out and explore, and I did for a few hours. And the sense of awe stuck with me for most of it, until I decided to go to the next planet, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then that was me done. The sense of awe and wonder was gone pretty damn quick. They handed me this massive open world, this open galaxy, and they achieved the sense of awe at the start, yet they didn't build on it. That was just it. Just some open worlds. They have these worlds with nothing to do on them. There were no quests, there was nothing really to find other than some procedurally generated blob monsters. They pitched discovery, yet all there was to discover was more of the same. It was an empty world, hell, an empty galaxy. This is what open world games should not be. A simple open world with nothing in it. This is what happens with procedural generation. You risk there being absolutely nothing of worth in your entire game. It's a shame, but it's what happened. there was next to nothing of worth within these open worlds. But now we've had a look at the sad state of some open worlds, let's move on to something that I'm personally a massive fan of, and that is the Fallout franchise, particularly Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout New Vegas. I haven't played Fallout 1 or 2. Now, these are games that have stuck with me for years. It's a franchise I absolutely love. I'm a sucker for them. These games allow you to go anywhere pretty much right from the get-go. In Fallout 3, you could skip half the main story by simply heading in a different direction when you leave the vault. It'll be a hard journey, yeah, but they don't stop you at all. The same goes for New Vegas. Once you leave Doc Mitchell's office, you can go through Death Valley and get torn to shred by Cazadors, but you can still do it. The game heavily incentivizes you following the main quest, at least at the start of the game. It lets you get used to it and lets you understand what's actually going on in the world. But you can absolutely ignore it if you want, which, if it's on your second or third playthrough, you probably will. They give you the open world, crafted to your experience. And there's a main quest line within it, but there's also hundreds of side quests jam-packed in this world. In all three of these games, there's a big open world ready for you, filled with its own self-contained stories for you to discover. They could be big stories, the main quests, missions in cities, whatever. Or they could be very small ones. Little Word documents or something like that you read to find the backstory to a place. The buzzwords of do whatever you want are thrown around a lot in open world games, but it really does ring true. Once you leave the very starting tutorial area, you're free to do what you want within reason. Sure, some things you need to progress the quests to really understand them or get into the odd building or another, but so little is locked off. You could run headfirst into a Deathclaw if you really want. Sure, you'll die pretty damn quick, but it doesn't stop you. Another similar title is the Elder Scrolls series. Now, I believe that possibly Oblivion was a genre-setting title in regards to open-world games. I'm sure others would say Morrowind was, but I didn't get the chance to play that one. Oblivion is often thought of one of the best games of all time. Of course, we can all rant about the things it did wrong, like the facial animations or the 6 voice actors they used for the whole game. But the world is amazing, and it's one of the best I've ever had the opportunity to play in. From escaping that prison cell, you're free to do as you please. You can run off into a group of bandits head first to get an arrow to the face and ragdoll over dead straight away. You can follow the main story, you can visit towns, do the amazing guilds, aka the Dark Brotherhood, aka the best guild in any Elder Scrolls game ever. It's all there for you to do. I know that whenever I start an Oblivion playthrough now, the first thing I go and do is go do the arena, fight all the way through, and then I go kill some poor innocent person to start the Dark Brotherhood questline because it's the best thing in the game. It's a world which I would gladly visit over and over again, and it's a world that I have visited over and over again. It's a world where every detail is placed and thought through. Everywhere has a story behind it. There's a purpose to it all. It's worth exploring. And that's honestly such an important thing. Now, finally, for the examples I'm giving, I chose to have a look at The Witcher 3 quickly. Now, The Witcher 3 is arguably one of the best games of all time again. It's beloved by many, and for damn good reason. There, we have a slightly more structured open world feeling to the game. Yes, you still have 3 big open worlds and open areas in the game, and yes, once again, they're all packed full of quests and places to explore. No one can deny that. Anyone who's played through the whole of The Witcher knows that they've sunk about 100 hours of their life into that game. But in the beginning of the game, you're placed within a slightly smaller area to give you a sense of what the game's about. It lets you play tons of side quests within that area, but it keeps itself a little more self-contained at the start. And then once you've finished a main mission or 2, it grants you access to the next area once you complete a certain amount of missions. The same can be said for the final area as well. It slowly opens up these areas, but at a more paced level. It's not available right at the start, but it doesn't take too long to get there. Even though saying the phrase, "it doesn't take long," in regards to The Witcher almost feels wrong, as again, I have about 100 hours sunk into that game, honestly probably a lot more, but I'm scared to look. Now, I could go on and discuss so many open world games, but we'd be here all day. Now, I know I've only covered a few open world games, but I thought the ones that I give a nice little overview of the good and the bad in regards to my conversation. If there's any other games you think I should cover or talk about, then let me know in the comments. I'll happily talk about them forever. So, let's try and answer the question, what makes an open world good? Well, for myself and many others out there, I'm sure it's the content of it. It's what you put in the world. Now, that may sound like a simple and obvious answer, but it's true. Sure, you could craft a beautiful open world, full of wonderful looking scenery, something that would take hours to walk across. But in the end, if there's nothing in it, other than that scenery, and no reason for me to walk that far, then why is it there? The content of the world needs to serve a purpose. If there's a cave to walk into, I want to go into it and find something worth finding, even if it's something small. I want my exploration to have a point to it. An open world game cannot simply consist of just an open world. There should always be some form of structured linearity to it. There needs to be a way through the game, a way for you to always be forwardly progressing. There needs to be a point to the world. And this was really No Man's Sky's downfall, at least one of them. There was no point to the world. They gave you this world and they told you to reach the centre, yes. But why? It's pointless. There's no reasoning behind it. Yet games like Fallout, Oblivion, The Witcher, so many more, there's reasons for you to be exploring these worlds. You want to find out what's in the worlds. You have the sense of awe, which is so important. So I hope this discussion made some sense. I hoped that some of you out there agree with me. If anyone made it this far, then thank you for actually listening to me ramble on about this. I just wanted to have a little discussion about what makes open worlds good, and I hope I got it across. If you're out there trying to make an open world or thinking of making one, really sit down and think about what you're putting in it. Why are you making this world? Thank you so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed. And well, hopefully I'll see you next time for another rambling video.